So today, without further ado, let's invite our first speaker, Mr. Tan Wei Leng. And he is actually the managing partner of Cheng LLP. So Mr. Tan actually have more than 15 years of experience in corporate financial advisory. So he joined Cheng & Co. Since 2001, and he actually used to take care of the Malacca office as a branch manager. So until 2011, he actually finally transferred back to the HQ and joined as the deputy managing partner of Cheng & Co. Group. And just last year, 2019, he was promoted as the managing partner of Cheng Co. LLP. So now, without further ado, let's invite Mr. Tan. Mr. Tan, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, so I shall stop sharing so that you can take over the screen now.
Yeah. So good afternoon, everyone. So it's my great pleasure to meet all the friends here over the Zoom. So I believe this new normal during this MCO for everyone to work at home. I mean, the conference have become a new trend. So yes, we all know that this COVID-19 outbreak is not only impact Malaysia, but it's also is a global crisis. So how are we going to impact our business, especially after the Malaysia under the MCO since 18th of March? So it impact most of the businesses. Of course, some of the businesses actually gain some benefits. They got some opportunity, new opportunity created. So we know that in the business world, so when there's a opportunity, always there's trades behind, and when there's a trade, also there's an opportunity. How are we going to look at it as a different aspect? So when there's a when they say the changes are run faster than what we planned, so which actually happened now because this COVID-19 this pandemic is so sudden. So how are we going to respond? So I believe a lot of you have already gone through what you're going to do during this MCO, but I believe more challenges to come, especially after the MCO. How your business going to sustain, or how your business going to catch up? Because after Malaysia MCO, let's say we're going to end very fast, hopefully, or maybe further extension, we are not sure, but definitely they're going to impact some of the business, how you're going to perform, because even Malaysia ended. How about the global other countries? Are they going to end as well? I don't think so. I think going to end by end of the year, or unless the vaccine is actually out. If not out, so what are we going to do? Especially those who deal with overseas, your supplies of materials are sourced from overseas. So all this will be impact, or your sales are actually going to this export to other countries. So those countries, we know that now car also cannot move, right? So the aeroplane also cannot fly now. So what are you going to do with the business? So let me take you through, run you through my slides. So basically, these are the four process. I break down to four components. So during the MCO, I'm not going to touch more, because I believe all of you have gone through many of this seminar and how you're going to prepare. So I will focus more on the second and the third component, which is post MCO. So after MCO, what we need to prepare. And of course, we also talk a little bit about what is the business recovery, how you're going to perform after this MCO, what are the measures you can take. And then the last part, also just to touch a little bit, I'm not going to touch more. I hope it's not until this level. That means, wait, I cannot see my screen. Okay, the evaluate business sustainability. This one is for those in the very worst scenario or worst situation. So you may have to consider even like liquidations and all this, but I hope it's not up to this stage at this moment. So I focus more on the second component and the third component, right? So during the MCO, so we know that the government actually allowed those essential or related essential business to operate, but with the conditions. Okay, so for this under a new normal during the COVID-19, they have to come out certain control or social distance or certain measure for them to operate the business to comply with these MCO orders. So definitely they come out some new business model to reach out to customers, how to maximize the reaching the customer. Especially you can see those SMB. so they can't. It's no longer like the normal one. You can sit there and eat, right? So it become a pack and go. So this one it actually creates some new business model. Of course, you need the IT based solutions. So for those non-essential business, of course, we have to work from home. So definitely you can't do, you must do something, right? You cannot sit at home and do nothing, right? So you have to brainstorm with your team how you're going to do. So yeah, you also have to evaluate what the impact of the business. And of course, a lot of people talk about is maximum, the second point, which is maximize the cash flow. So how to maximize the cash flow? I think this one, a lot of you are also aware already. So your government stimulus package, your SRF, I mean the special release facility, your this AF, you got micro financing or whatever. Then also you have a deferment of tax payment, the deferment of loan repayment, all this. Then you also got subsidy from WSP, which subsidy program. We got some levy discount electricity, and also some rental, where the government give a tax deduction and all this. Some also review on insurance, and we also try to minimize the cost and expenses. And also some may go through like some sort of a voluntary salary adjustment. And of course, you have to monitor your collections. This is critical. So this just to quickly run through. Then the third one, you also need to follow up with tax agent and auditors, because now I think you got a chance. The government actually allow you to have a third revision of tax, and there's no limit. You can actually revise to zero if you think that your business are badly affected. So you want to revise to zero, and later on, let's say business will pick up again, you can revise again. So this is a good opportunity for you to work with your auditor or your accountants to see how to revise your tax now. So let me move on. So what are the things doing the MCO can do? So of course, you may want to apply additional bank facility. So of course, you need to prepare your financial statement and assess your financial position, whether you have a capacity to borrow more money. So you must take care your debt service ratio, whether they're able to repay and not just continue to borrow, but at the end after MCO, so you will have a much higher commitment. So this is what you need to be careful to measure before you actually do so, right? Then of course, a lot of people also asking, those are these staff work from home. So they get actually, maybe some of them, the admin staff, they got nothing to do. So a lot of customers actually call me, hey, what they should do, do at home, do nothing, cooking. So what are the things they can do? In fact, there are a lot of things can do. So you might take this opportunity, why not to review the company practice, any practice not maybe still got some weaknesses, or maybe got some deficiency, how you're going to improve it. So you want to maintain the customer relationship during this lockdown. Make sure you call a customer, make sure you're in touch with a customer. Because I heard some of the customers say, oh, the staff even not bother about the email inquiry coming because they are at home. So is it you're going to forget about a customer, then customer may look for someone else? So these are a lot of things you can do, but I'm not going to go through everyone. I just quickly run through the products innovation. Maybe you want to do some product innovation at home. Those R&D team, they can still work it, or you want to call your team for some short analysis or company how going to analyze your supply chains, whether it affected all these things. So you can do it now. Now we got a lot of time. So you also may want to do some study on your customer trend, or your past historical, what's the trend, how it affect your customer and all this. So you may do some analysis on that. So the next one, of course, you have to keep up to date on the local and global economy impact. So we for sure that this is a global crisis, and it's much serious compared to those 1980s, 1990 financial crisis. Definitely, because this one is the whole world are involved in this pandemic. So definitely it's a serious global recession. So others, like you can also do some study from others in the same industry, how they actually pick up after the pandemic, especially from China, because now China is already over. Of course, some small stage maybe still got some things, but definitely they really move very fast to the next level. So you may want to study some of the company, how they're going to react to the next challenges. So maintain running at the cost at a minimum level. I mean the cost containment to max out. This not the max cost saving, and also reviews and contract obligation. Do have this? I mean, after the MCO, I think during the MCO, I think a lot of people now start to aware those force majeure, right? So what's all these things, whether you got continue the obligation to supply, whether any penalties or not. So this one you may want to review, and when you want to renew your contract, maybe this one the concern you may want to put in. All right. So basically this is about the during the MCO. Now we move to the next one, which is the post MCO. What are you going to do? So these are some tips for you. Maybe it's useful for the businesses. You can think about it, how you're going to do at your business level. I believe you are the most familiar in your business than anybody else. So I believe you can do better than what I can share here. So the first thing, of course, the business alignment. What are you going to heading to after the MCO? So are you going to enhance your existing business model? Are you going to adapt IT-based solution or outsourcing? I think nowadays we know there's a change of consumer behaviors. I mean, more and more people accept IT solution now. Before that, I think maybe a lot of us, including myself, maybe haven't tried Grab food, but because of this MCO, I actually tried it, and it actually it surprised to me. I don't know where's the restaurant, but after this Grab food, I enjoy the food. So this is something new. So are you going to change your business model towards this direction? So the second one, of course, what are the customer focus and the impact? So have you called your customer? Are their business impacted or not? So you may want to forecast your sales for the next 6 months at least, or the 12 months. The perfect is 12 months, but 12 months may be too long. But at least you know the next 6 months whether they can give you sales or not. If they cannot give you sales, how are you going to generate new sales? So this I think your sales team, it could be able to find out more. So but it's important for you now, as you during this MCO, you can start to think about it. So where is your customers? So like I mentioned just now, maybe you have a new market development after this MCO. You may find other potential products, maybe not just your existing products. You also may have maybe got some emerging business opportunity that people may not see, but you see. So you might want to grab this opportunity to expand your business. So these are all the areas you should look at after the MCO. So then the next one, of course, we are talking about right size. Are you in the right size after the MCO? You need to look at your stocks level, want to maintain it minimum, or maybe your business are picking up very well during this MCO. You want to increase your stock level. So these are the things that we are talking about, right size. So also the staffing, is it on the right size? If after the sales, maybe after you think that after MCO your sales are gone because the other country have not recovered yet, so you may want to downsize your staff. So these are the dilemma we're facing. So but it's good for you to start to think now rather than after the MCO. Then people already start taking the actions. So the next one, of course, prepare for potential third phase outbreak. Of course, I have to put this in because we are not sure, because even after the MCO, is it going to be the third phase of outbreak and we have another round of MCO again? Nobody knows, right? Because the global haven't finished yet. You can see the US every day is 30,000 and above. Then we also know that the India maybe because of their living costs are high. Maybe a lot of them haven't got this money to test, so we don't know. So perhaps maybe another third phase. This is not going to scare all of you, but we just have to be more prepared in case the third phase outbreak. We're going to MCO again. At least we know what to do already. We already prepared on this. So these are the things. Then the supply chain. Just now I touched a little bit. So whether the source of material are affected or not. So the terms and costing, is it changed or not? Maybe after the MCO, the price maybe go up. So is it still profitable or not, affect your profitability or not. So all this you need to have a different measure, or you want to find alternative material from local maybe. So this also the supply chain you need to understand the costing, maybe the term and condition they want to cash them now instead, because everybody want cash ma. So maybe become cash them rather than they give you a credit. So all this may affect your business decision, right? So of course, after all this, you may want to come out with a new business plan and strategy to work out with all your team. So to come out with new strategies from all these the tips here, and you may want to come out action plans, and most important, of course, the execution plan. So if you may have a lot of good plan, but if without execution, also no point, right? Or it can't be executed, also no point, right? So this we talk about the business plan. So I hope I cover the business alignment, how you're going to move forward. So it gives you some ideas. So then I move to the second point. I think after MCO, still very important is the cash flow. No doubt during MCO important, after MCO even more important. So what is your cash flow projection and forecast? So you have to monitor your cash flow on a timely basis. You have to monitor closely whether any provision, maybe certain debtors you cannot collect. So you have to take in all this into account and come up with a very more accurate cash flow compared to before. So because you want to know how long you can sustain, let's say, your cash position and how you're going to repay your loan deferment. Now you are very happy, we enjoy the deferment, no need to pay. But after 6 months, we have to pay at one go, right? So do we have sufficient cash to cater for that? So, and also in those apply additional loan, for example, like special release facility, let's say you apply 1 million. So every month, you know that you have to additional commitment of 18,000 a month. So is it, are you okay with that or not? So is your business pick up quickly enough to have this capability to pay or not? So all this have to take into the consideration. So the next one, of course, we're talking about cash flow. There's do some reserve if you can, or you have to plan for some contingencies, whether the shareholders prepare to pump in some fund or not. Let's say let's say there's some deficit. So if not, so what are the other contingency plan? So all this you have to put in mind. You continue after the MCO, you still have to continue to figure out to make sure you got more cash flow. You say cash is always the king, right? So I move to the next slides. So what else you can do? So revision of tax estimate. This one, if let's say, why I say this one also important. Sometimes you already during MCO maybe you already revise to 0, but after MCO, surprisingly your business pick up well. So you may want to revise again. So don't forget to make your accurate tax estimation, so you don't miss out the time, the deadline. So to avoid those unnecessary penalty during, after the MCO. Then continue with the good practice. You have to filing your tax and audited accounts on time. Why I say so? So just in case that after the MCO, maybe you want to apply additional facility, or you want to restructure your existing loan, but without audit report, without your tax filing, how are you going to apply? So the bank may ask you, can you provide me the latest audited report, but you don't have because you take it for granted, right? So make sure that you still continue as a good practice. So make sure you still continue your audit accounts, all your accounts records are updated on a timely basis. All right. So next one, explore the possibility of restructure your banking facility. So this one, if let's say you already know that just now the second part we already talked about the cash flow projection. You already know that early you can't, maybe you still face some difficulty, you want to restructure a loan. So after MCO, you can start talk to the bank, not wait until I cannot survive already, so become default. So then you want to do your restructuring your bank facility. I think that time is much tougher for you to do so. I think bank also worry now you want to restructure, then it's more difficult for you. So that's why I said you must have a good practice. Make sure accounts are up to date. Make sure you forecast your cash flow properly. So at least you know where is how much you short, how much you deficit, or how you're going to restructure your loan. So make sure you are comfortable, you can be able to survive through during this difficult period. So the next one, contract renewal. Just now I mentioned before that, maybe we are not so concerned on what is force majeure and what's the doctrine of frustration. But after this, I think a lot of people become expert. What is force majeure? I mean, they may want to see, I want to make sure my agreement got this clause, so I can have a power or the bargaining power to talk to the tenant or whatever. So these are the things that you may want to take note after the MCO when you want to renew your contract. Not just tenancy, maybe your sales contract or whatever. So the last part, we talk about explore the possibility of M&A opportunity. So for those businesses are doing well, or they got some reserve fund or reserve money, so maybe this is also a good opportunity for you to look for M&A. So you may want to take up, you may become more and more stronger after the M&A, or maybe you may want to merge with other company. So this I believe is a good timing for you to do so. So you may want to explore this kind of opportunity. So you need to prepare some of your business direction or strategy, depending on your business side. So I hope I covered enough for this post MCO. So next I'm going to talk about this business recovery. So when we talk about business recovery, of course the first thing come to our mind, of course, is the sales. How are you going to survive? How are you going to generate sales? So you have to assess potential change in the price, whether it impact your profit margin. If let's say impact your profit margin, so what are you going to do? Are you going to, maybe you have to think that this price, is it going to affect very long, in the long term, or just a very temporary, just within a short-term period? Then you can come up certain strategy to overcome this change in the price. So you may also want to know, let's say your how much and how fast you're going to break even. So after MCO, is it within a month you can run a break even or even better? So this one you may want to know, and how fast the sales can back to the normal. So this one all depends on the sales team, how you work with the sales team to understand the business better, understand your customer better, and you must know where's the source of sales, whether it's from the existing, from a new customer, from the future contract. Or so you see like all those airplane airline company, why they sell you the cheap ticket at this moment, because they want to secure the future business, right? And they want to maximize the cash. So this some business model they look at. So how about your business? Then you may come up, maybe it's the sales generate from the new products, new segments, especially those in this healthcare. Now you know that sanitizer, this a lot, this mask, it become a necessity, right? So maybe something else you can work out some new products from in the healthcare industry or from the essential services. Then sales contract obligation, whether it's new or existing, you may want to know, maybe those have a contract to deliver. So are you able to deliver? If can't, so what are the action you're going to take? Then the second one is a supplies forecast. So once you got the sales, whether you got the material or not, so this one also you need to understand. So, and also there's also same assess potential change the price, because the price may affect your costing, right? So you may want to revise all your costing, so whether it's still profitable enough, or whether it still can cope with the existing, the increased price if there is. But I know some of the price actually dropped a lot, like petrol. I think the drop, like oil, crude. Even a negative, right? So some maybe is a surprise to you. You may benefit from there, but some is maybe disadvantage. So you need to assess it, whether it's advantage to you or it's a disadvantage to your business. Then always maintain a minimum level of stocks. Don't keep overstocks, because we want to prepare, make sure you prepare for contingency. And look for the source of supplier, whether you are an alternative supplier. If for those rely on the import, like this, like for example, Vietnam, a lot of parts from these automotive parts from China. So during the China lockdown, I mean, the factory, even though they have to lock down or lay off the staff because there's no materials, so they can't do the production. So how about the transport and logistics? Is it affected? So I got to run more quickly because I think I'm running out of time. So how about the cash flow management? So again, you have to check a collection term and the payment terms, and make sure costs are contained at a minimum level. So then maintain a healthy reserve. For example, you may want to keep 3 months fixed overhead so that, let's say just I mean, touch wood lah. So let's say we are in the MCO extended or whatever, at least you got enough reserve to cover the overhead. Then the insurance coverage. So you may want to take this opportunity to review insurance. I mean, a lot of organization, I believe there's no regular review or update your insurance policy. So you may still based on the very old policy. So maybe next time you want to make sure that there's a pandemic insurance or trade credit insurance. But now you don't need to talk to your insurance agent, and they won't insure you. But in fact, we got such an insurance policy. Just that a lot of people don't know. When come to this pandemic, let's say your debtors are unable to pay you. In fact, the trade credit insurance can pay you. So these are the things you may want to look at, especially after the MCO, maybe after the global crisis have gone. So you may want to secure, make sure you're adequately protected and insured. So I've covered the two important parts. So this is the last part, just a quickly run through. So evaluate business potential is feasibility. What I try to say is that even your business affected badly, but you not necessarily go to this liquidation or winding up. Sometimes, let's say you know that this only affect you on the short-term period. You should be able to revive your business. So you can consider this so-called corporate rescue mechanism or judicial management. So then with this, you're actually granted by this court so that your creditors won't able to come to you to sue you for winding up. At least you're secure. But you need to come out with a rehabilitation plan. How are you going to make sure you can able to pay them off after maybe 1 year or 2 years, depends on your plan. So only those very, let's say the business unlikely to turn around, we have no choice. You're unable to pay the debts, also unable to restructure. Of course, you have no choice. Is liquidation is one of the way to consider. Of course, there's you have to evaluate the pros and cons. Maybe may face some bankruptcy or whatever. So that is a very I mean the worst scenario lah. So with that, thank you. I hope I share with you some of the ideas.